So thank you for this opportunity, Mr. Atul and Mavis. So today we'll be talking about digitalization in downstream oil and gas. Can you go to the next slide, please, Akshay? So this is the agenda what we are going to follow. We'll be talking a bit on the trends what we are seeing from a digitalization perspective. Then what does digitalization in downstream mean through Accenture lens? Then we'll go do a bit of a deep dive on digital downstream manufacturing, and then finally a bit of more deep dive on digital asset management. Next slide. So now let's look at the overall macro trends, what's happening. And I'm focusing more from a refinery perspective. So I would like to take your attention to the left-hand side of this slide. The first macro trend, what you're seeing is production at right cost. Now, we'll all agree, right? This has never been so true. We have seen crude hit rock bottom prices, and now again, it is hovering at around $86. And it is estimated to hit 3 digits very soon and may cross historical highs itself. Now, in such context, it is therefore very imperative that the production or refining cost be kept at a right optimal levels. And to add to this, we have volatile changing demand patterns. We have already seen this in the pandemic time. We have seen this happening post-pandemic, pre-pandemic. There's a lot of volatile changing demand patterns as such, right? And diesel demand is set to decrease as we move towards our goals of reducing carbon. So net-net, it becomes very imperative to have a system which is flexible to absorb this kind of shocks and yet produce the right amounts at the right cost. The next trend, what we are seeing is moving to the trend. Now, this is a trend. So you can see there is a trend moving from crude to chemicals or C2C, adoption of natural gas to run refinery operations, adoptions of CCS to reduce the overall emissions. All these are leading to newer operating models. Now, we in India also have a vision of becoming Asia Pacific refining hub by 2030. And this obviously will require us adoption of more and more automation, innovation, and also will lead into changes in the operating model. So that's the next big trend what we are seeing. Now, at the same time, we have to manage the supply chain complexities. So we are in midst of one such complexity, right? We have seen how natural gas, coal prices have risen. Have risen sharply because of the issues in the supply chain. Europe is in midst of this issue. Our neighboring country, China, is in midst of this issue, and we ourselves are having this problem. So managing supply chain complexity becomes very critical for us. Now, while we grapple with these trends, focus on increasing asset efficiency utilization to increase the throughput will always remain, as this is integral for all our operation efficiencies and critical to run profitable business. The last but not the least emerging trend, which is a really strong trend now, is decarbonization. I do not see a single discussion happening without keeping carbon in mind. And India has committed to reduce greenhouse gas emission intensity of its GDP by 33 to 35% by 2030. Therefore, it is very critical that every action in the energy value chain has carbon dimension to it, which will help us to make informed decisions. So this is the major macro trends what we are seeing, and these trends are also exhibited in our research as well, which is highlighted in the middle section of this slide. Be it plant flexibility, supply chain flexibility, lower energy utilization, improved productivity, and so on and so forth. So now, given these trends, what are the key opportunities from digital adoption perspective? The right-hand section talks about this. We can adopt next-gen digital analytics, which deals with implementation of cutting-edge data analytics powered by machine learning to drive efficient operations, make informed decision, which helps to improve productivity and reduce cost. Similarly, adoption of artificial intelligence services, algorithms, and models enable refining companies to become insight-driven enterprises that utilize data to derive key business benefits. We can adopt next wave of digital technologies like connected sensors, package technologies, 3D visualization, drones, autonomous equipment, which enables companies to move towards a fully integrated operations. And bringing all these technologies together is the intelligent platforms, which provides end-to-end view of the operation with seamless integration of different platforms and solutions to help manage sensor data, equipment data, vehicles data, workers data, and so on and so forth on a single platform, coupled with seamless convergence of IT/OT technologies. Now, strongly supporting this is digitally enabled workforce with mobile apps and wearable enabling digital collaboration. Augmented reality, simulated trainings for workers have also made EDT are also making the operations safe, mobile, reliable, and of course efficient. Now, this is what is what we see as the trend and how the digital technologies or the digitalization kind of can make an impact. Having said this, let's quickly get into some of the assets or solutions what we are building in this direction. So the first one is enterprise digital twin. Now here, this is not the same digital twin as Mr. Asanti was referring to, or for that matter, when Mr. Atul was referring to. This is a digital twin, which is, it is more a process-related decision twin. It is not actually going to show you physically the physical image of the digital image of a physical asset as such. So this enterprise digital twin, or the EDT, helps us to connect data and decisions through a system level view, enabling businesses to unlock trapped values and improve margins by 20 to 30%. It helps to move from time consuming siloed analysis and decision making to immediate enterprise optimization and synchronous decision making. EDT focuses on optimizing at each asset level. It can be a refinery or an oil producing field, unconventional asset for margin, production, and most importantly on carbon. It also considers optimization at function level like finance, supply chain, marketing, sales, maintenance. EDT is a decision-making platform which kind of stitches together all assets and enterprise elements in a digital form, which helps us to manage both CapEx and OpEx. So that's the key difference here. Moving on, CarbonGo. Now, this is a solution. It's a complete end-to-end solution for managing operations of CCS. CCS, as you know, is one of the main solutions that needs to be adopted to reduce the carbon emissions during production. Our solution, CarbonGo, helps to connect different CCS facilities, helps to run the day-to-day operation, and at the same time provide enterprise-level view across CCS value chain. It helps to manage operational data, cost, carbon load distribution plan as per the customer requirement, optimized transportation plan, and injection plan. It kind of provides a graphical view of cumulative carbon capture and emission volumes. It provides financial overview of carbon capture operation, intelligent prescriptive insights across the carbon capture process. It also provides dynamic carbon channeling and enables intelligent pipeline selections. So that's in a nutshell what CarbonGo solution is for from a CCS perspective. The next key solution what we have is a digital worker. This helps employee cope with today's highly complex equipment, process, and products. This solution actually helps them keeps the worker safe and healthy while at work. It actually helps us to do more with less and be more productive. This solution encompasses next generation's digital technologies like AR, VR, mobility, IoT, advanced analytics, and helps to automate and streamline plant and asset-related work. I will ask Akshay to go a little bit more deep on the digital manufacturing. Akshay, over to you.
Yep, thanks, Sri. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. This is Akshay. So as Sri was saying, how digitalization in downstream operation is capable of bringing cost reduction as well as significant process improvement and new ways of working to reality. So Accenture has its own set of solutions which comprehensively bring these benefits to reality for multiple clients globally. And one of the solutions is digital manufacturing operations management. Or digital manufacturing, as we can call it in short. So I will cover this solution in three folds. One is why digital manufacturing. Second is what is that it brings to the table. And third is how it can be leveraged or how it is delivering the solutions. So first we look at it, why one should look at digital manufacturing as an important enabler of digitalization for downstream businesses. So this is basically based on 5 key levers, that is work digitally, that is eliminating manual operations completely by introducing advanced automations in every single activity that takes place in downstream manufacturing. Second is tightly integrating IT and OT systems across L2 to L4 of all the applications, functional things of ISA 95. Third is being responsive. So this is by being agile operations enabled by real-time data, which makes us take proactive decision-making and proactive actions. Fourth lever would be bringing in predictive capabilities from the solutions, leveraging analytics and data science. And fifth, which is very important, is how to run reliable and safe operations by reducing human errors, safety incidents, and operational errors. So all these five levers are leveraged by digital manufacturing asset to bring these benefits realized for downstream businesses across all the components of manufacturing component spectrum. So if you look at it, all these functional enablers from capital efficiency, value stream optimization, asset optimization, process optimization, environment management, process safety, and people safety. Kindly note that these numbers are with respect to range and indicative. So these are taken from multiple client engagements that where we have implemented digital manufacturing solutions, and these tend to vary from client to client based on depth and breadth of the digital manufacturing solution implementation. Now we have seen why digital manufacturing should be looked at it. Secondly, I would like to say what is that basically this solution brings to the table, right? So when we look at manufacturing, it spans across incoming crude to outgoing products. All these activities, every single action that takes place during this has been structurally categorized into 5 functional areas aligned with ISA 95 in digital manufacturing solutions. So if you can see, production operations management, regulatory compliance management, reliability and integrity, inventory operations, and quality operations. These would be the key functional areas of digital manufacturing, under which you can see individual tabs, which are the tactical solutions delivered via IT and OT integration system. So production operations basically spans across production planning, production scheduling, operational instructions, including mass and energy balance, right? RCM, which is regulatory compliance managers, typically focusing on compliance with respect to environmental science as well as safety operations. Reliability and integrity, as its name suggests, it takes care of strategy and execution of asset reliability, inspections, that is integrity, and maintenance execution part of it. Inventory operations takes care of inventory management of, again, inventory control of right from feedstock, intermediate products to finished goods. And quality operations, as its name suggests, it's take care of quality assessment and quality performance management of all the products which are considered in the downstream operations. Now, all these 5 solutions are enabling downstream businesses to achieve operational excellence via these 4 key pillars, which is cost and profitability, reliability, efficiency, and health, safety, and environment, right? So next part would be how digital manufacturing take this to reality, or what solution it basically is talking about. So if you see this ISA 95 structure from L2 to L4 layers of applications. So L4 is basically dominated by ERP, and predominantly we see all SAP solutions over here. MOM stays over here. Of course, it overlaps with L4 and L2 in certain cases, but L3 is where it is quite dominant. So if you look at it, the first layer, that decision support and visualization system, which is the key USP of digital manufacturing. So what differentiation that it brings is DSV gives you the role-based dashboard across 5 solutions we just saw. So for example, if I talk about production operations management, digital manufacturing gives you the role-based dashboard across production engineer, production planner, as well as a general manager and engineering manager, where they can customize the KPIs which they want to look at, and thereby do their perform their activities as well as the reporting, right? So we would look at the reliability specific DSV layer, how it looks like in later stages. Next layer is all about integration layer, and this is where IT and OT come together. So you can see multiple COTS or market ready products, all the logos over here, but not all the products are, capable of sending the data, receiving the data based on the business processes of every individual client operations, right? So this layer takes care of bringing that together in terms of digitally enabling all the data exchanges and activities or even workflows. So if you look at this particular architecture, you might ask, these are already market ready solutions, or am I asking you to buy these products and then only digital manufacturing is going to be successful? No, these are all indicative solutions. And let me tell you, digital manufacturing is completely technology agnostic, vendor agnostic. It's a concept, it's a platform enabled by DSV integration, and the functional expertise that Accenture brings in. Yeah. Coming next is, now that we have seen all the 5 areas, why, what, and how of the digital manufacturing, let's quickly look at how one of the solutions can be, digitally enabling all the business processes under that domain. Now, reliability and integrity management, as we said, it specifically takes care of strategy and execution part of efficient maintenance execution, reliability strategy, inspection strategy, and bringing it together as digital or connected asset management. So with earlier or conventional way of reliability operations, clients we have seen always had questions like, do I have a right foundational asset data? Do I have right maintenance strategy in place? Am I spending too much on maintenance of activities? Am I spend asset performance attribute is being tracked in real time and shows you on the dashboard whenever you start your day in terms of bad actors? What is my asset risks associated with it? Are there any IOW violations? What is the cost trend I'm looking at? What are the collaborative workflows, MOCs, for example, management of change? Are there anything which is pending? Then performance visualization across asset health as well as integrity of the equipments. And then it is supported by conventional reliability practices like proactive asset strategies like RCM, FMEA, what is my RAM modeling, predictive analytics, risk-based inspection and maintenance, asset lifecycle management. Whole study I can cover over here, which can send the advisories and insights at this level. Then predictive modeling, work execution, as well as the balanced risk and cost analysis studies which I can combine. So I would like to give an example of day in a life of reliability engineer who is leveraging digital manufacturing. So as a reliability engineer or maybe a reliability manager, when I come to the office in the morning, all I'm concerned about how my assets are performing, which are the key factors which are waiting for my attention, or which are key priorities I should have in a day, what kind of reports I would be presenting to my leadership. So if you look at this dashboard, what is telling me is what is the mechanical availability across my sites. Now, these KPIs are having drill down capability right from my site to an individual equipment level. So here, if you see the red color, which is having mechanical availability lesser than what was my target, and here it is more than what I had given my target to. So in this case, by drilling down, I can see which particular system, which particular unit, which function location, and thereby which individual equipment is contributing to mechanical availability, lower or lesser. And thereby I can set priorities to that and take my proactive actions. Similarly, here, if you see this, it's talking about worst MTBF by type. So it again gives you unit wise which equipment is having worst MTBF and which is having more odds of failing frequently. Of course, this is going to contribute to my bad actors. Now, bad actors again can be looked at in two folds. One is maintenance cost or frequency of failure. Again, Pareto principle is applicable here, but it again varies from client to client. But this gives me a picture of what are the key bad actors and how should I be looking at strategizing their maintenance. Now, one important feature of this particular decision support system is, if you can see, there are tabs or links given, details, full report and details. This takes me to an application from which this data is collected or calculation is being brought in, right? So this is so seamless that you wouldn't know where you are part of the Microsoft based dashboard system or GE based reliability system. So this is where the IT-OT convergence value is brought in together. Now, one example I would like to give you is, if you look at this particular screen, you can see the smart signal predictive advisory generated. Again, to note that we are not saying that smart signal is one of the key solutions or must-haves of digital manufacturing. It is just an indicative one of the vendors. So when a predictive solution is giving me an advisory that this equipment of yours is about to fail with X percentage of probability in next Y number of days, and high, medium, low is my priority, and this gets translated into recommendation for me, right? And when, as a reliability engineer, I look at all the recommendation again, this particular equipment, I see, okay, RCM has generated this recommendation, asset health has generated this recommendation, I have RBI driven risk recommendation, and now Smart Signal is also giving me some symptoms. And based on that, I would create an activity which could be even part of your proactive maintenance, or I can merge it with my preventive maintenance, which is anyway due in next couple of days. So these kind of insights I am given with this particular dashboard, and then I can take my actions or priorities. It also gives you reports in terms of what are the MTBF or MTTR, similarly the bad actor reports, so that I can sit down with my team and analyze one by one. Right. So one might ask that what is the data source from which these dashboards are being created? So this is the glimpse of comprehensive integrated APM. And this is the layer which we just saw of reliability engineers dashboard. And it is fetching the data from this key block, which is asset performance management, which is again, technology agnostic, vendor agnostic, but it has to cover all these parts across reliability, SIS cycle, that is safety life cycle, asset, as well as asset integrity. Now it fetches the data from SAP because it's it could be the master data from other ERPs as well. But this becomes the foundation to have asset hierarchy, its technical characteristics, taxonomies. Secondly, it also needs to interact with condition monitoring systems clients may have in their portfolios. They might have process historians as well as operator rounds and predictive analytics, which we saw in earlier screen. And these all are advisories are translated into recommendation management, whereby they are converted into strategies which are sent to SAP PM for execution. Now here you can quickly have a look at how these system integrations between IT and OT systems are designed and developed, and each of the dashboard components are being in real time, proactive, and automated. Yeah. So based on this solution, these are some key benefits which we touched upon, and how these leverage the cost benefits which we saw at the beginning around digital manufacturing. So RIM component, which mostly around asset management, is contributing to significant cost saving around asset lifecycle cost, inventory of spares. It increases at asset utilization, reduces maintenance cost, as well as because we are connected to production planners too, it also helps us increasing the production yields by reducing the production interruptions. And of course, it's all risk-based systematic approaches towards reliability, maintenance, and integrity. It definitely builds the risk associated culture in the organization. Yeah. Now one might ask that we saw multiple logos which are market ready products on the architecture. What is that Accenture bring in? So what Accenture does is we have services across strategy and consulting, where we sit down with downstream businesses, CXOs, to understand what are the key improvement levers for cost reduction, process improvement, as well as new ways of working. Those are translated into functional specifications. So these functional specifications are very specific to client to client, based on the practices do, the activities they perform, and the department structure they have. Now, based on these requirements, we come up with vendor selection criteria for you, where best fit vendor is selected, and not the other way around, where vendor comes in with a ready-made solution and then try to fit the functional requirements into it. So we come from top to bottom. Secondly, we also wear the hats of system integrator, where we deliver the IT, OT integrations and DSV dashboards kind of solutions we just showed. And thirdly, we also take care of overall platform operations, that is application operations, till the support end, the incident life cycle of it. So that is the differentiation which Accenture brings to the table when it comes to digital manufacturing or any other digital solution which Sri gave the introduction to. So that's it from our end. Over to you, Atul sir.